Welcome back to Aftermath. It's been a short break, but we are officially back in the studio. I'm Kiara.
And I'm Tanesha. We took a little time to decompress because the stories we tell here don't just stay in the booth, they follow us home. But we're recharged and ready to get back to the work of highlighting the cases that shifted our culture. This is episode 3.
Now, before we dive in, we need to hold space for a bit of a discretion warning. Today's episode covers a high profile case involving a sudden, unprovoked, and violent attack on young women. We will be discussing graphic details and the emotional fallout of a public tragedy. If this is a difficult topic for you, please take care of yourself while listening.
So today, we're going to be looking at a case that stopped the Bay Area in its tracks. It's a story about 3 sisters, a routine train transfer, and a shadow that was waiting on a platform. But more than the crime, it's about what happened after, how a community used their phones as weapons to hunt down a killer when the clock was ticking.
We're headed to Oakland, California, and this is the case of Nia Wilson and the tragedy at MacArthur Station. Let's set the stage. It is July 22nd, 2018. It's a warm Sunday night in Oakland. You know the feeling. It's the end of a family weekend, your heart is full, and you probably got a container of a cookout plate with that Tupperware that we all love in your
hmm
hand. That was Nia, Latifah, and Taisha Wilson. Just kids, really, headed home from a family get together.
Exactly. They were 18, 21, and 26. Just 3 sisters being sisters. Probably laughing about something that their uncle has said or something that happened at the barbecue or at the function. And they were on the BART, transferring at MacArthur Station. They really had no idea that John Lee Caldwell has been trailing them like a shadow. He didn't say a word, Kiara. He didn't argue with them. There was no robbery attempt, just predatory silence.
And that's the part that chills me to the bone, really. As they're stepping onto the platform, Cal lunges. He uses a knife to slash the throats of Nia and Latifah from behind. It happened so fast that Latifah later said she thought she had been punched until she saw the blood. Nia collapsed, dying in her sister's arms on that cold concrete. An 18-year-old girl just trying to get home.
And you know what is so uh upsetting about it is the fact that this was sheer randomness, and it sent the Bay Area into a frenzy. Like, people were scared. They didn't know, and then it also made them angry. This is where the story shifts to a testament of community power. The police had the surveillance footage, a lot of it. But the streets had reach, honey.
Exactly. Within hours, those grainy images of Caldwell and his yellow jacket were everywhere. If you were on Twitter or Instagram in Oakland that night, you couldn't scroll 2 inches without seeing his face. The hashtag Justice for Nia wasn't just a tribute, it was a digital wanted poster. And the community was saying, not this time, not our girls.
And you know what? This is when a hashtag actually worked. Within less than 24 hours, a passenger on Antioch bound train looks up, looks at their phone, and then looks at the man sitting a few seats away. It was him. And that passenger didn't hesitate. They alerted the authorities. And then the police swarmed the next station, which was Pleasant Hill Station. So the community basically handed him on a silver platter to the police.
But catching up with him was just the beginning. The legal process was a circus, and that's just being polite. For 2 years, The Wilson family had to sit in court while Cowell's defense leaned heavily into his history of schizophrenia. The trial was a revolving door of delays for mental health evaluations.
And Kiara, Caldwell, he made that courtroom feel like a feverish dream. He was constantly removed for outbursts, but it was the things he actually said that left people stunned. He started claiming that the sisters, who were the victims, weren't even human. He told the court they were aliens and that they were a part of some grand conspiracy.
Right. He was talking about radio signals and alien technology. At one point, he claimed the sisters had kidnapped his grandmother and were using some telepathic powers. It was bizarre, and it felt like such a slap in the face to a family that was just trying to get justice for their daughter and their sister.
But see, the prosecution had something. So they really dug in and they argued that these alien stories was a performance. They pointed out that he never mentioned any of this that night that he got arrested. It only started once the trial got close. And then the evidence of the calculation was just too strong. There was witnesses who testified that they saw him calmly wipe the blood off the knife and put it away. And there was no alien induction frenzy. It was just lying and waiting. And you see it on the surveillance footage. There was no denying it.
Exactly. He changed his clothes, he hid the weapon, and he knew enough to try to evade the police. That doesn't sound like a man who didn't know right from wrong. In March 2020, the jury agreed and they found him guilty of first-degree murder. By July, despite the history of mental illness, a judge ruled he was legally sane at the time of the crime, and he was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. But even with Cal behind bars, the aftermath of Nia Wilson didn't end at the prison gates. It forced a massive nationwide conversation about the safety of Black women in public spaces and how we protect each other.
Right, exactly. And for Nia's family, they did something incredible. They took that unimaginable pain and turned it into a pillar for the community. Her father, Asinar El Muhammad, started the Nia Wilson Foundation.
I love that. I do. The foundation isn't just a memorial, it's a resource. They focus on helping young people who have been impacted by unprovoked violence, providing everything from counseling, housing assistance, to employment support. They're literally doing the work to help other families survive their own aftermaths.
So hopefully, this story touched you. And I truthfully couldn't see how it couldn't. But we want to encourage you to do more than just listen. Actually go to niawilsonsfoundation.org. Support the work that they're doing in Oakland. Let's make sure that Nia's name stays synonymous with community care and real change.
Nia should be 26 years old today. She should be living her life, laughing with her sisters, and coming home from family parties. Instead, she's a symbol of a city that refused to stay silent. We see you, Nia, and we're still fighting for you.
So rest in power, Nia Wilson. And we'll see you all in the next episode.
And this was Aftermath.